VoIP Detective Pro allows for emails to be sent when an extension dials emergency services. This email is for information purposes only and should not be used to dispatch assistance. Emergency alerts in VoIP Detective work in this way. An extension on your call manager cluster dials one of the numbers that has been configured as an emergency number. After the call ends, Call Manager will create a CDR and send it to VoIP Detective. VoIP Detective will flag the emergency call and route an email to your SMTP mail server. The mail server will deliver the message to your designated recipients. Keep in mind that Call Manager does not alert VoIP Detective of the call until the call ends. VoIP Detective Pro allows alerts to be sent to a pre-configured address for all calls to emergency services. New in VoIP Detective version 1.6 is the ability to send messages to addresses based on which extension is making the call. Let's say that you have two offices, one in Chicago, Illinois, and another in Washington, D.C. The Chicago office has 5-digit extensions that all start with 42. The Washington office has 5-digit extensions that start with 43. We could create two patterns to match emergency calls from these two offices. This Chicago emergency pattern would be 42XXX. This is because our extensions all start with 42. The X's are wildcards that will match any numbers. With this pattern, phone number 42123, phone number 42567, and all of those in between will trigger this pattern. The Washington office emergency pattern would be 43XXX. This would match any calls coming from an extension that starts with 43XXX. Here we see how this would look inside of VoIP Detective. First, we go to Administration and Emergency Alerts. You can see that we have Emergency Service Alerts enabled. We have two emergency service numbers configured, 911 and 9911. And we have the default alert address set. Remember that the default alert address will be alerted to any emergency calls regardless of any emergency patterns you create. You can see that we already have added a pattern for the Chicago office. 42XXX will match any calls to our emergency service numbers, and the configured notification email address will receive a message. Let's add an alert for the Washington office now. First, we will enter 43XXX as the calling pattern. Next, we will enter the address to receive notifications. Finally, we will add a description. That is all it takes to configure emergency alerts in VoIP Detective. Should you have any questions, you can contact us through our support portal at support.voipdetective.com.